capitalism has ruined hip hop.
Yes.
And what we're seeing is, people that are more concerned about the finances, the money, than there are concerned about the art form. The most of the people that own the masters and that are getting paid the most out of hip hop, they're not even artists. And to me, that is the problem.
Look, I'm feeling good today. I wish you were today. I'm pulling up in the hood today. I understood today. Tomorrow, and I promise I'm being grateful as I should today. I'm feeling nice today. I'm more than alright, okay. Honestly, I'm sorta kinda great. Got a smile on my face. Know what? I might just let this little light of mine shine. Feels good to be free.
Feels even better to be me.
The creator done woke me on my sleeve.
That means I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
So please put some lemon in my tea.
But miss me with that sour energy.
I'm floating on a higher frequency.
You can't disturb the synchronicity. All right, peace and power to the people, y'all. You're here on
can't
it.
say that's my thing.
All right, you said
you got the whole calm thing and all the like Zen and Luna. You can't do peace.
I thought you were trying to go over me. Okay, all right. Peace, y'all. Welcome to the Ascension Coalition broadcast. You're here with your favorite reader, healer, DJ Luna Young, and the magnificent maestro of melodies. They will not day two.
The maestro of melody. I don't even know what that is, but anyway, peace and power to the people. I'm your host, Day One, Not Day Two. This is the Ascension Coalition broadcast. The Ascension Coalition is an association of artists and activists that are dedicated to empowering the community and combating harmful narratives within music and popular media today. Yes. This broadcast is dedicated to platforming transformative conversations around culture and spotlighting artists who are doing great work in the community. We got a treat in store for y'all. We got IT, the chosen one, coming through. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of hip hop right now. And then we're going to talk about these trends that's going on. So let's jump right into it.
What the heck is going on with hip hop today?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Right now, actually, for the first time in a really long time, hip hop has not reached the Billboard top 100 songs, the number one spot. And this time last year, we had 6 different rappers grace those charts. And yeah, a lot of people are saying hip hop is dead. A lot of people are saying, it's over with, rap is over, it's dying out, the wave is dying. They're trying to compare it to disco, and it's like, hold on. What do you think is going on? Why do you think, right now, hip hop is at the state that it's in?
You asked me 2 different questions, because the first thing that came, I must admit, is that if hip-hop as it stands is dead, I'm okay with it, because death is always a rebirth, right? There's always 2 sides to that coin. So if one thing is dying, that means that something else is being birthed, and I already know what's on the other side of that, and that's Ascension Coalition. What's up?
Yeah.
And so with that, I could even use it to answer that next question, why is it dying out? Really, the people need something. The people need more than what's being given. The energy that's been created, that is given off from the hot. Even if you look at what the hot tracks were last year, they still weren't hitting. I want to say, I'm a hip hop buff, so please don't come at me. But 2012. In 2016, it's something about every 4 years. 2020, there are certain waves of music that really influenced the culture. And I want to say 2012 was the most influential. And God, I'm dating myself because that was over 10 years ago. Yeah. And that the head
You're over 10 years old.
Yes. The heaviest, I really want to say the heaviest albums that are really coming out in hip hop really came out around 2012 and 2016. Heavy music came out, but it was not as heavy. It's just been getting watered down until now. You have, if that's how the song goes. I'm not sure.
We do not own the rights to whatever she just did. Just disclaimer. But yeah, I would say that hip-hop is a young genre. It's wild that we're celebrating the 50th year anniversary of hip-hop all the same time we're talking about is hip-hop dead because it hasn't charted the way it used to chart. and it's still the number one consumed genre in the world, not just in America, in the world, right? So let's pause for a second. Let's all just calm down. Hip hop is not going anywhere.
Right.
Hip hop was here before we even called it hip hop. First off,
Yes.
just because people put a name on it, it was always here. But one thing I do want to say is, the reason that it's been declining over time is because the ownership doesn't look like the artist. There's a disconnect between the executives that are pushing it, the major labels who are pushing this music. There's a disconnect between the marketers and the actual artists who are creating it and the consumers who are consuming it. And what we're seeing, I know we all heard the story about the goose and the golden egg, right? What happens? Some guy finds a goose, and the goose is laying these golden eggs. And, he's not just, he can't be content with just one egg a day. And so what does he do? He goes and he tries to cut open the goose to get all the golden eggs out, and now you just don't have any more geese. I think that's how it goes. I don't know. Something but that's what's happening. Like what we're seeing with hip hop now, we're not doing artist development anymore. Right. ARs are dying out. There's nobody there that's actually going to, build up an artist and recognize talent and make sure that artist is supported enough to, just be as creative and reach the potential that they have to reach. It's all about the hits. Labels are only signing people if they have 1 million followers or if they have a certain amount of buzz. And it's not about the talent anymore. It's about what is going to, sell, what is going to gain traction, And so with that mindset, capitalism has ruined hip hop.
Yes.
And what we're seeing is, people that are more concerned about the finances, the money, than they are concerned about the art form. Most of the people that own the masters and that are getting paid the most out of hip hop, they're not even artists. And to me, that is the problem. But also, which is part of the problem, we're hearing music that is just is blatantly, really promoting this matrix that we're in. And I think society is just awake to it. Our people are just, awake to it, and we're conscious. This younger generation, the youth, we're not stupid. Young people are not stupid. Like, we've seen what's happening now. Y'all not even a creative about it anymore. Like, y'all just, slipping in, devil worshiping and, demonizing and all of these things just in the music. Y'all using it to, fuel the school to prison pipeline. It's like, it's not, the jig is up. Like, we're on to what's happening. And so even though, hip hop in the mainstream sense might not be charting, there's an underground scene that is exploding.
Yes.
There's these underground parties and underground events that, people on those higher levels don't even know about, and they shouldn't know about. You get what I'm saying? There's some exclusive, there's a renaissance happening within hip hop, and I hope people are ready for it because, I'm excited about what's to come. I think that as we grow as a genre and as we grow as a culture, right? Because Black people in general who are like, really pushing and fueling, this music, this sound, we're also young in the terms of our development within this country. We were dispersed, from our people, and that plays into it. And so as we're seeing, the sound of hip hop change, and we're slowly finding ourselves there, we're also slowly finding ourselves as a culture, and we're tapping in the spirit more, and we're tapping, deeper and learning deeper things. We're learning more about ourselves and where we come from, and this is just the quiet before the storm. This is just the quiet before the storm. So I'm not worried at all.
No, never worried. You really touched on it. This renaissance that's going on. It's honestly, I really feel like we as artists, we as people in this hip hop culture are tapping back into our roots. Like we host the Ascension Open Mic, right? We had amazing, we haven't even really talked about that, but the amazing Ascension Open Mic that we just had, the talent was off the charts and it was diverse. And I'm really making this point to say that the people who are really making real hip hop are pulling up to these open mics. They're not trying to top the charts. You know what I'm saying? So you really have, if you want to hear real hip hop, you have to go where the culture is, because hip hop is more than just like the music. It's a culture.
If you want to hear real hip hop, you got to come to the next Ascension open mic.
Yes, easily.
That was a good plug. That was great. Well done. But speaking of the open mic, right? We did have one right here at Indigo Mills, which is where we shoot this podcast at. This broadcast, excuse me.
Shame.
But yeah, we have 3 winners, and shout out to Blue Word.
Second time in a row
he won
first place. Yeah.
First time he won first place. Shout out to Miles.
Yes.
Miles Ramon came and killed it, came in second. And, shout out to Reek Hella Smoke, nigga.
On all platforms.
Yeah, on all platforms, yo. That's really his name. Reek Hella Smoke, nigga. You got to type it in like that.
The nigga's in parentheses, guys. You don't actually have to type it in.
If you're white, you don't have to type it in like that. Don't do it. But nah, I think they came in and they killed it. Who was your, honorable mention? Like, who else stood out to you besides our winners? Because they were dope.
Honorable mention, I think his name is Jack the Rhymer, right? Because he came out and pulled up. One, he had his shirt was like something about like peace and love, like high vibrations, like something that's just a line. So I'm like, all right, we're starting out cool, but his energy just gives, just since we've been talking about hip hop, like his energy gives like that old school hip hop, like underground vibe, and it was refreshing. It was really, and he started the whole open mic off, so it like set the tone. One of our past guests, I don't remember what this is called, but our past guest, Ethan Black, he said that when he would host open mics, right, there's a thing that they do basically where they have the first performer come and like set the tone for the thing. So it's like, if you want to win, you have to be better than that person, right? And I feel like Jack was a perfect person to open mic, and set the tone for it.
Yeah, he ripped the open mic open. He ripped the old Jack the Rhymer was also my honorable mention. He came out and he surprised a lot of people. But I also will say that Be Heavenly again. Be Heavenly came out and I was real surprised because usually you're expecting poetry, but she gave us a song. Yeah. And
from the heart too.
From the heart. And she told me afterwards, she was like, yeah, this was just something I was called to do. It was about a situation she had gone through before, but things were coming up for her in this presence, and she was just called to deliver that. And I seen her channeling in that instance, and that it always just reminded me of how what we're doing is deeper than the music. It's not just about making a song and people dancing to it, or winning an open mic. I got to see what that performance did for her, with channeling that and transmuting that did for her, and so that's why she's my honorable mention. I
gotta give one more honorable mention.
One more.
Shout out YB Norris.
YB Norris.
Just on the tip for 2 reasons. One, crowd engagement is like amazing. It's being a performer is hard. You know what I'm saying? There were levels. There was like icon. It was great. But just on the tip of transparency, like you could really hear his story in his music, but you could also feel like where he got himself after his situation, after being where he was, and that is literally that exemplifies Ascension. You feel me? That is like why we are doing these open mics. So yeah, shout out YB Norris one time.
Yeah, shout out YB Norris. We actually reached out to him about booking him for our next feature performer for Ascension open mic that we're doing. But let's talk about these winners real quick.
Yeah.
Blue Word, first place. I'm gonna be honest. Blue, I've seen them several times now. That was the best I ever seen them perform, and it was wild. It was the best I ever seen them perform. And then a funny story: I go out Brooklyn to some art exhibit, and then I see him on a wall as somebody's like picture, like somebody like some photographer had an exhibit up, and like there was like 3 or 4 pictures of Blue after he just killed the open mic. I'm like, wow, like he's just an interdimensional artist, multi-genre. He's an entrepreneur as well, but his performance, man, I can't like you can't even put him in any type of category box. You can't say spoken word, is rap, is anything. It's just something that is going to captivate you and grab your soul. Like open neck, no respect, and then his cadence. Like, yeah, if people want to learn how to be a great performer, study that man.
No. So your mama sent you.
He was singing. Like, he was singing the start off. Like that was. I forgot all about that. Yeah, man. It was a great showing. Like, and now he has to top himself because that was wild. Yeah. That was amazing, man. But yeah, what about Miles? Miles is also somebody that every time he comes out, wow.
Yeah, Miles came in and really gave himself like that. It's delivery, it's the content. I feel like every time I see Miles perform, right, it's like I'm looking in the mirror. It's like I get called to look in the mirror, and I'm just like really talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really like building myself up, but it's like Miles building me up. But it feels like he's drawing out me. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm now talking to myself, telling me how to be my higher self, and that's. Like, not everyone could do that.
Yeah, you know? he killed it. Yeah. And I'm starting to hear his influence in other artists around the city as well. A lot of people ain't peeping that, but I'm the first to say it, Miles. You out here influencing people.
Yes.
You know, get your royalties, bro. And then last but not least, Reek. Man, Reek hella smoke. He came with the fucking energy.
Yeah. And people, I feel like people really connect to Reek. You know, so as he's performing, I've seen Reek perform a couple different times, a couple different energies, and it was interesting that it doesn't matter what energy Reek is giving, the crowd gives the same exact energy. That's Reek. Like. Yeah.
He has his reputation, you know, precedes him, and just his voice is so powerful, and he knows how to control it in a way that really demands and commands attention.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? So. Yeah, we had a great round. I'm looking forward to the next open mic. I'm looking forward to continue supporting artists and also finding ways to work with more artists, work more in depth collaboratively, and figure out how we could, you know, support this renaissance that's going on right now.
Yes. So coming up, right, our community bulletin, what is on the agenda this weekend? You know, we have our food drive every Friday over at TCRC. You know, shout out to our partner. He's doing amazing things, great program. Go check it out if you're hungry. If you know a friend who's hungry, let someone know, because we are here to help the people. We're here to heal the people, and we're here to feed the people. You know, definitely pull up. We got our final Friday writing workshop over at Widener. That was a tongue twister. I'm going to do that again. The final Friday writing workshop over at Widener. Yes, all right. If you're looking to embark on a writing task to inspire writers to, you know, try something new, come on out, 6:30, Widener University. You can hit up Jessica Guzman or Jane Thompson. Yes, any of our fellow writers if you want some more information. And then I believe there's something going on this Saturday, right? You know what that might be? Or this Friday? When is that?
This Friday?
Yeah. I'm alluding to the open mic. Something about the year.
But this is awkward now because it's like nobody knows what you're talking about. I'm just playing, y'all. This Friday, we got the Summerfest in collaboration with Yeah Philly. Yours truly is going to be performing. That's going to be at One Art Community Center. You know, 6:00, and it's a dollar party. Like, we bringing dollar parties back. We outside. It's going to be food, vendors, vibes. You know, we might have some secret guests come out and take the stage with me. I don't know. You know, but definitely come out and vibe. Yeah, come out and vibe on Friday.
Yeah.
Try this again. For today's artist spotlight, we're excited to welcome in a poet, a performer, somebody I'm just truly honored to be able to call my brother. He's been doing great work in the community. He's been doing amazing work on stages, been performing at slams, open mics, has his own showcases. He's just a visionary in every sense of the word. IT The Chosen is with us. Welcome, IT.
Yes, welcome, IT.
This song was written at the time I was closed in a cell. I felt the need to describe what I noticed in jail. I'm tired of looking at these bars and going in cells. It's like the system was designed just so we could fail. They be revoking your bail, then they hold us in jail by abusing their position, hoping nobody tell. I got a question for the ones that's over the jail. Why most of your officers got us going through hell? Why I gotta pay the courts just to lower the bill? When my mom send a letter, why they open the mail? Why they stop letting inmates smoke in the jail, but they letting COs bring dope in the cells? Why so many infections in most of the cells? When it's time for inspection, I know you could tell. Why the cops got snitches all over the jail? Damn, why the judge let them go when they tell? Why they make it so hard to get a motion in jail? Why they bang on your door before they open the cell? If the prisons are safe, then can't nobody tell, cause them niggas got shanks all over the jail. Why the judge look around when he posting your bail? On the commissary, why they never lower the cells? All the felons on the streets, why most of them fail? Why your record determine whether you going to jail? Why they putting cell blocks so close to the rail? Why they threaten us with time? Is this so we could tell? If this song was a book, then I know it would sell. I got a question for the ones that's over the jail. Why? 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 I'm confined in the place that's expecting me to fail. This the question for the captains and directors of the jail. Why? Why? I kept trying to break free, but they left me in the cell. This is a question for the captains and directors of the jail. Why? I'm stuck behind bars with a sheet in the rag. Why the chefs in the kitchen keep feeding us trash? Why the LT threatening me with his badge? Why correctional officers keep treating us bad? Damn, they take you off probation if you pay your fines. So why they treating violations like major crimes? Why certain individuals stay confined? They keeping blacks in jail so we can stay behind. Why they turning misdemeanors into major crimes? Why they making juveniles do major time? Why my young boy gotta do 89? They gave him major time so they could break his mind. And why detectives try to get in your mind? And when you on visitation, why they limit the time? They blame convicts for plenty of crimes, but what about the police that's committing the crimes? Why innocent men getting convicted of crimes? Why the crooked solicitors not getting the time? When I was locked up, why they left me in the cell? This a question for the captains and directors of the jail. Why? Why? Why?
Come on, let's get this one, baby.
I see the chosen one.
Stay there. Stay there. Hurry up. No. No.
I was once a criminal, but on the day I got victimized, I start to feel the pain that resides in the victims' lives. When you listen to my story, I ain't asking you to sympathize. Just tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. This song is dedicated to the ones being victimized. Listen to my story and tell me if you feel the vibe. Nah, I ain't asking you to sympathize. Tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. I'ma keep it real. This is how I feel inside. Wish that I could wipe away the tears from the victim's eyes. To all the criminals who never been victimized, tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. I never thought a criminal could be victimized. Man, I was blind, them crimes had me hypnotized. But once I looked at the reflection in the victim's eyes, I realized anybody could be victimized. I was a criminal assigned to the streets. I had tendencies to rob cause my job was deceased. I could couldn't sleep, cause I was out running the streets. The captivity of crime had me bound by a leash. At first, victimology was hard to define. The impact of a crime wasn't part of my mind. Watch me illustrate my life like an artist with rhymes. So close your eyes and visualize the art I designed. As a criminal, I struggled through the hardest of times. Needed money, so I committed the hardest of crimes. I plotted on the victims and all of my crimes, and I would run in the safe and take all of their dimes. Making moves on the streets, getting all of the shine. And I kept new sneaks like all of the time, man. I was on my grind, so I thought I was fine. No, I never would've thought I'd be a part of a crime. My offenders must have had me as a target in mind, cause they was staring me down as I was walking the line. All of a sudden 3 trucks started parking behind. Then this boy to the left started talking in signs. I caught a bad vibe, so I walked from the line. But before I got a chance to walk to the sign, I felt cold still pressing on a part of my spine. They put the guns to my head and took all they could find. The money that was taken, I thought it was mine, but I was forced to pay a price for all of my crimes. Every time I hit the street, I'ma walk with a 9, so I don't end up like the victims that's chalked in the line. This song is dedicated to the ones being victimized. Listen to my story and tell me if you feel the vibe. No, I ain't asking you to sympathize. Tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. I'ma keep it real. This is how I feel inside. Wish that I could wipe away the tears from the victim's eyes. To all the criminals who never been victimized, tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. My offenders, they ought to get time. I lived with a peace of mind until they thought of the crime. I never got the restitution I thought I would find, but still the doctor had the nerve to try to offer me fines. I want to get revenge, it's crossing my mind. I would let go of the past, but it's hard to recline. I be having flashbacks like all of the time. I'm paranoid, so that's why I keep precautions in mind. Nowadays, criminals is getting harder to find, which is why the police not solving the crimes. A lot of criminals perceive the laws decline. Now I understand the reason that them balls were designed. Now this post-traumatic stress is a part of my mind. No apologies can ever heal the scar on my mind. If you look into my eyes, you'll see all of the signs of a primary victim who's a part of a crime. This song is dedicated to the ones being victimized. Listen to my story and tell me if you feel the vibe. No, I ain't asking you to sympathize. Tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes. I'ma keep it real. This is how I feel inside. Wish that I could wipe away the tears from the victim's eyes. To all the criminals who never been victimized, tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes.
I dedicate this song to all the victims of my crimes. I mean, after doing 8 years, I had to sit down and do the time. I don't really think we really realize how we affect the victims of crime. I was once a criminal, but on the day I got victimized, I start to feel the pain that resides in the victims' lives. When you listen to my story, I ain't asking you to sympathize. Just tell me what you see when you look into a victim's eyes.
You sure you ready for this black life? Cause I'm about to black out and pull the facts out and get you ready for this black life. I.T. the chosen one. Black Lions. I don't really think y'all ready for this black life. Cause in order for me to thrive and succeed, it was times that I had to bleed to earn these black stripes. Now take a look into my black life, with them blue villains just waiting for you to slip. For some reason, everybody around you just keep dying, so you try not to quit. You just a black man that's playing Pac-Man. All you trying to do is just connect the dots, make moves, get cash, and collect a lot. You out North Philly thuggin', trying to rep the block. You from Mary Ave, so when it's beef, you was taught to check your ops. South Philly real wild like a jungle in a cage. You making moves out west, and you been hustling for days. Now you roaming southwest like you running through a maze, making moves uptown with your cousin getting blazed. Your best friend got popped on the block like a soda cap. You try and make a change for the better, but you know you trapped. Hoping one day you can escape from the jungle, but you stuck like gorilla glue around animals that's wilder than monkeys in a zoo. Holding banana clips and throwing hollow tips. You want the Lord to make a way, but your soul is trapped. You call a pastor trying to pray, but for some reason the signal go away, cause your phone is cracked. You on the road to riches, but for some reason the wheels on your whip keep rolling back, and the lifelines you had start going flat. Your mom's telling you to slow down before it really go down, and in the back of your mind, you know it's facts. Your wife see you on the block, and she keep having visions of you getting shot. Now she pray for you a lot, cause she know you trapped. You known on the block as the trap king, but all of a sudden, the doorbell ring, cause the choir down the street wanted to sing, so the feds run down with a team, breaking glass and kicking in your front screen, and you know they strapped. All of a sudden, your phone start ringing, so you pick up and say, yo, who this? That's when the fans start singing.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take you slowly. Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and take you slowly.
So you hang up the phone, now you running out of breath. Your heart beating fast, now your mind's in a race. You running through the alleyway, but you just can't seem to find an escape. So you try hopping the gate, but damn fam, it's too late. They coming now, like King Kong, them gorillas running down. Damn, you know you trapped, cause the feds hired a rat. You was getting them rats, but them 3 blind mice came and took your cheese. Now you got some attorney's fees. Even worse, you just lost 30 keys, and your lawyer ain't cheap. He look you in the face and say, if you want me to take this case, I want 30 G's. Damn fam, why you blow them stacks? All them years you was just trying to get reparations, cause in your mind, due to slavery and the lack of education, they owe you that. Now you desperate, trying to find your way out, and you looking for the end zone so you can touch down on the streets. So you call your friend phone, but they don't pick up. They go to voicemail, and all you hear is a dial tone. So the quarterback in the courtroom passed you 30 years and sent you off the field of life. You was once catching plays on a block like you was Jerry Rice. Now you getting flagged and dragged by the referee. Then he tossed you out the game of life and changed your whole destiny. Now you sitting on the bench with a 100-yard penalty, 3 strikes, a large fine, and a lifelong injury. Then they throw you back in a prison cell. Damn, you lost everything you had. Now you going back. Your life was like a lucky charm. You was about to taste the rainbow. Now all them colors that used to glisten and them bright dreams and visions is going black. But hey, that's just a typical day being a black man. It's nothing new. It's like playing an unfair, unjust, unpredictable, real-life game of Pac-Man. So who am I? Well, as I mentioned in the book of beginning, this is my revelation. I'm a black man. I resemble the Black Panther. I'm a fighter and a dancer. I move like Batman. I'm Mr. Melody. Ain't no shame in my game, yeah, I said it. I'm proud to be a black man. Yet still, despite of how I feel, and the millions and gallons of black blood, them blue villains of this country might have spilled, yet still I raise my black fist, then thank the Lord that I exist, and boldly say, I'm so damn proud to be a black man. I don't think y'all heard me. I said I'm so proud to be a black man, and that's a fact, man. Although they treated me like garbage, I'm like Brenda's baby. I'm the hidden treasure that was thrown into a trash can. Now I'm fighting for a cause, so I'm throwing up my right fist. And no matter how many colors and stripes this red, white, and blue country try to stain my black life with, I'm still shining bright, cause I possess more black power than a light switch. I resemble the Black Panther, I'm a fighter and a dancer. I move like Batman, I'm Mr. Melody. Ain't no shame in my game, Yeah, I said it. I'm proud to be a black man. Whenever trouble come my way, I start laughing out loud. I'm getting blacker every day. That's why I'm black and I'm proud. Whenever trouble come my way, I start laughing out loud. I'm getting blacker every day. That's why I'm black and I'm proud. Ready or not, nigga, here I come. 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 You better run. Let me see your driver's license and registration, please.
I'm sorry, officer. I didn't take my medication. I have lung inflammation. So at times, it makes me wheeze.
I ran your tags, and from what I see, you got some tickets, and evidently you didn't pay your fees.
My bad. I forgot to renew my registration. Here, officer, you can take my keys.
The reason I pulled you over is because you chose to violate the speed. Now turn off the ignition, nigga, before I make you bleed.
Just please, don't take my life. I got a daughter and a wife. They have dinner that was planned for me.
Nigga, I could give a damn about your family. Nigga, you stinking. You got that loud pack, huh? Smells like you been drinking.
I promise, I'm not a drug dealer. I just went to the bar. Officer, I'm just a little nervous right now, so can I just sit in the car?
Shut up, nigga. Get out the car. Now I'ma read you your Miranda rights, nigga. Just in case you didn't know, this death sentence ain't nothing nice, nigga. I can falsely convict you of a crime and make you do the time and give you life, nigga. I will publicly humiliate you in front of your wife, nigga. Whenever you turn on Elm Street, I'll be right there. I keep that Ruger, nigga. They call me Freddy Krueger, nigga. I'ma be your worst nightmare. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. I control your life, nigga. So with that said, do you understand the rights, nigga?
Yes, sir.
When I cut on them lights, nigga, you better run. Who am I? I'm a weapon of mass destruction, like a nuclear weapon. I'm like a heavy gun. And when I cut on them lights, nigga, you better run. You got the right to remain silent. Yeah, nigga, I'm talking to you. Nigga, what you gonna do? I'm charging you with multiple black crimes for refusing to be silenced, 2 premeditated counts of poetic violence, and for speaking black truths with the intent to start a riot. Oh, say, can't you see, nigga? You in the land of the free, nigga. Oh, so you thought you was a free nigga. Just read the 13th Amendment and you'll see, nigga, you was never set free, nigga. So what's the common denominator between a slave and a free nigga?
I don't know.
A tree, nigga. Nah, nigga, that religion won't save you. I'm your Lord and your Savior. You better bow down to me, nigga. After I spray you with this mace, I'ma slam that gavel and hit you with this case. Then I'ma look you in the face and yell, shots fired. Then I'ma claim you killed 3 niggas. You thought you could pray and ask the Lord to make a way? No, this how it's gonna be, nigga. So you call yourself a real nigga? You ain't nothing but a field nigga. If you try to cross that gun line, nigga, I will kill you and you'll never see the sunshine. So you a Sam Cooke type nigga. You thought a change was gonna come? What you thought you was Harriet Tubman, nigga? I will bury you underground and no, you better not run. You thought you was a king? You ain't nothing but a bum. You make me sick. I should grab my stick and beat you like a drum. You 3/5 human, nigga. You not a man to me, cause I control where you live. Then I make you do a bid, separate you from your kids, and break up your whole family. I hear you screaming Black Lives Matter, but we silence niggas. Anything you say and do will and can be held against you, even if it's not true. So with that said, before I shoot you in the head, a lot of niggas is dead, cause they won't remain silent, nigga. Yeah, I protect and serve my community, but the truth is, I'm a violent nigga. So with that said, now that your Miranda rights have been read, you got the right to remain silent, nigga. Shots fired. We got a
a nigga that's dead, it was self-defense. So the nigga is dead.
I'm dispatching a medical unit to you right now, and they're on the
Give us
way.
this day our daily bread. Release my brothers that was wrongfully convicted from the feds. Resurrect my brothers that got shot in the head. I tried to call my friends, but a lot of them is dead. I dedicate this to all the brothers that lost their life to police gun violence. That was read they Miranda rights, but they was denied and died and remained silent.
This is all I want to say. For all the people that doubt me, I had no record all my life. Okay? No record, no police record until I made a record. But nobody cared about that. That wasn't blew up all in the news. They didn't see me. They did not see me on TV with my eye busted, my head busted. There's pictures of those. You don't see pictures of the police standing over me, beating my brains in. You don't see that. But I see that.
Ready or not, nigga, here I come. Ready or not, nigga, here I come. You better run.
Whoa.
Wow. So it is an honor for me to introduce this next artist spotlight. He's a poet, he's a performer, he's a pioneer of black consciousness, a visionary in the truest sense of the word. Please welcome my brother IT, the Chosen. How you feeling today, King?
Thanks for having me, man. It's the only one. I don't play tag, but the Chosen one IT. And if you're looking for the light, that's the place you can find me. My why is bigger than me. My it factor is as big as a tree with strong roots that convey healthy fruits that the world can continually and genuinely see. I go by the name of IT.
Bars. So listen, man, I would like to get right into this piece that we just witnessed. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was a portal. It took me somewhere, and the message behind it. Talk to me about Miranda rights, man. What was the vision behind it? You know, the fact that it was shot right here in my city, right here in Chester.
You already know, shout
I'm
out
like,
to
damn,
Chester.
yeah, you over town with it, but yeah, talk to me about Miranda rights.
Yeah, as we know, Miranda rights is that's what they read you when, you know, I damn near know them by heart. Getting them read so many times to me. What inspired is going through a lot of different things as far as police brutality, having, you know, being pulled over, officers pulling guns out on me, being jumped by, you know, I've been jumped by U.S. Marshals, all types of choked and handcuffs. So we could go on down the line. So having those experiences, so the reason why I conveyed it in that way, because when they give it to you, they give it to you raw and real. So I couldn't do it no other way, you know. And it's just, you know, talking from experience of how so many men feel when they at that traffic stop, you know, and it's just you and them. So
we got to back up. We got to backtrack, because in order to really understand and appreciate the message behind Miranda rights, the message behind everything that you do, I think they have to understand your story. And I know parts of it. I know bits and pieces of it. I was, you know, honored to work with you on the album release and, you know, doing a human rights protest for the Philadelphia jails. But talk to me about how IT, the Chosen, became IT. Like, where did this start at? What was that point when you're like, you know, you're going to use your creative gifts that God gave you to do this, to completely floor people with your messages?
Wow, yeah, it's honestly started while I was in a real dark place. And that's sometimes that's where you do find the light. I didn't even know I would be doing poetry. If you had asked me some years back, I wouldn't know none of this. Like, I didn't know I would be doing none of it. But I had a lot of time to think. It wasn't my first bid, you know. But this one, the long stretch I had to do, close to 6 years. Like, it was like I had a lot of time to think, meet a lot of different individuals, and tap into my gifts. So when I started seeing that, you know, they call you a number when you're behind them walls. And when you call somebody a number, you think about math, you break them down to the simplest form. You know, and I'm actually working on a book called From a Number to a Name. So when I started realizing my name and who I was, and God started to help me realize that, coming from a number, because you know, you got to remember that number. You got to, you know, they count us. You know, it's just nothing but a numbers game. You just livestock. That's it. So I had to tell myself, like, despite of this, I will not allow I always told myself when I was in that uniform, I would not allow my current condition to dictate my position, who I am. So I had to tell myself, like, you still a king, even though that crown heavy. The crown might be a little lopsided, but you know what I mean? We going to straighten that joint out. So I had to, you know, kind of get a grip. And I started tapping into my gifts. So it kind of gave me, start unwrapping the gifts. And I encourage everybody, you know, not just myself, but to unwrap your gift. A gift is better conveyed than concealed. And when I start unwrapping my gifts, I start seeing the value, the significance. I start tapping into those gifts despite of that situation. So I was able to kind of navigate through the storm in a more creative way. And, you know, creativity adds color to everything. So even though I'm in a cell and I'm around this, going through hell, you know what goes on back there. I just start moving my gifts, and IT the chosen one, the name came to me, and it's a scripture in Habakkuk says, "Write the vision and make it plain, and though it may tarry, it shall come to pass." So I had to write the vision in the midst of a dark place, even when I ain't see nothing. I had to speak it in existence, and you know, I started walking in, and we would have the ciphers. Like we would have, I would be writing. I was getting in my creative space, and we would have ciphers, like people from all over, like, you know what I mean. And just, you know, even if it's for that one moment, everybody wasn't beefing. Like it was in the midst of that cipher. I feel like a cipher is like our sacred language. Like we speak it, and I think that's why they try to poison it. We came in union, even within for that 20 or 30 minutes. It you know, because it carries culture, it carries our experiences. So we was like helping each other ride through the storm in the midst of that. So that's how I kind of, like, briefly speaking, how I started tapping into the gift. It was more therapeutic. And learning to speak the sacred language. And as I started cultivating it, and it grew into, you know, poetry and multiple forms of writing.
I know you talked about how gifts are meant to be unwrapped, but honestly, from everything you've shown, I don't think your gifts can really fit in a box. I'm really wondering, like, what is your creative process like? We heard rap, we heard you sing a little bit, we heard you do poetry. Like, yeah, tell us about that.
You know, that's why they call it a poet's tree. When you think about a tree, it has multiple branches, right? And you, as long as you're rooted in your gift, it can produce multiple. So just real briefly speaking, I feel like rap is the rhythmatic expression of words in a poetic form that create and produce a certain feeling or emotion and convey a certain experience. I feel like poetry, it could be written. It could say how you feel, a documented version. Roses are red, violets are blue. It could be light. It don't gotta be. And spoken word is the living, breathing manifestation. So it depends on how I'm feeling. And I didn't know, like I said, coming out that box, like you said, it can't fit in the box. And I think as you cultivate it, it just grows. So that's how my gift operates, and I appreciate it. And my mission is ultimately to share it with the world, and also bring others. I found a creative way to bring other brothers together, whom I have two with me right now. This family is not just, you know, us standing on stage. We stand together as well. Unity on the outside of that. So, yeah, just utilizing that gift, man, to reverse the curses with my verses.
And for me, right, it's hard because you're literally taking me back to a point. You know, I did 8 years at 17. And listening to your music, being able to experience your poetry, watching your visuals, like, it's so raw. You get what I'm saying? It's so raw that I'm literally transported back to where I just was at, but in a way where it's like you can't forget it. You're using this now to actually send a message. Yes. You get what I'm saying? And so many of us, after we come home, we forget about the prisons. You get what I'm saying? So many people turn their backs on their brothers that's inside of those cells. And you could tell who's who and who's not when it comes to how we speak on that, and the way that you're able to transmute those experiences and speak truth to power, even when you're talking about something as insidious as the criminal legal system in America, man.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm literally having chills just receiving that and just watching that. And so talk to me about why it's so important for you that this is the message that you give, because you could be making music about anything. You could be making productions about anything, and because your God-given talent is going to be amazing. But you made the decision to talk about, you know, something that a lot of people want to talk about. A lot of people are too afraid, too traumatized to talk about. A lot of people don't want to go there because it's not the hot topic, the trending topic. You know, it's so many people that are out of sight, out of mind. And so why did you make the decision to really push this as your message, man?
Because I had to, for one, realize it wasn't about me. Going in and out. The process of recidivism, it can be, though the system, yes, it's broken, yes, it is, but sometimes people are broken along with that, whether it be because of an experience. So what happens is we have a broken mindset when it comes to prisons. For example, you take somebody, they get out of college, and they say, I graduated. And they say, okay, good for you. somebody get out of prison, they celebrating. I remember when I got out, my man, yo, I'm taking you shopping, yo, welcome. Like, so we've already, that's why I said reversing the curses. We've already, and that is something to celebrate. But when it's so repetitive, at what point do we stop celebrating? Like, I mean, because I was doing stuff because of my action. I ain't gonna lie. Some of the stuff was because of what I did, right? And I'm telling moms, yo, put money in my books, boom, boom. And what's happening is I'm not realizing, even though it's comforting me in this, we like to be comfortable, I'm unconsciously being selfish and saying, hey, listen, bail me out. I need you to do this. So I'm ultimately punishing somebody else for my doing. So I had to realize that, hey, listen, not only am I being selfish to my significant others, I'm being selfish to my victims, which is what victimology was about. Mm-hmm. And I took a class, the way that piece came about was we actually had a class called Turning the Leaf Project, and they came and some of the victims of actual crimes, they came and spoke to us while we was in the prison. And one lady, I think she got shot in the head. She survived it, but she still had some damage in her head. Another guy, his son got murdered and tortured, but they didn't find him. So we're talking to these victims and they're giving their testimony. So it's compelling a person to be like, yo, this how people really be affecting you. Like, and then so I'm putting it in first person, like, yo, we looking through your eyes. So, but back to the question, what basically got me to, start, getting on this mission was like, you know what? I'm trying to reverse everything. Like I started feeling all the things I was doing. And it was repetitive. It was selfish. It was just like, what am I? And God convicted my heart, and I started thinking about, the first thing I thought about was my victims of my crime. When I had the weapon to their head, and I remember they was in tears on their knees, and I'm laying people down, and it was aggressive, grabbing people out the vehicle at the ATM, throwing them on the ground, like aggressive, like so. It's like I'm like, yo, I got to do makeup work. That's why my term is tag, and I want to tag all generations. Just tag as many people as possible. When you play tag, they say, what, you're it, and they call me IT. So I want to help people. Not only do I want to tag them in a positive way and with a loving hand, I want to help them recognize their it factor. We all have it. The it factor, we just got to learn how to tap into it. So that's why the mission is so important, because I spent a lot of years just hurting people, so why not heal at this moment? So,
wow. How I just wonder, how have you healed yourself? I hear you want to give it to the people, but what have you done within your own self work?
Well, for one, I let some of those experiences out. For one, whether it be artistically through communication, I have sought some therapy in some ways. My mother, I was fortunate. My mother was a therapist. My mother that adopted me, she was a therapist, so she was big on communication, which is why I think I can effectively convey an idea or an experience. But yeah, so therapeutic outlets, creative outlets, and transforming all of that. Of course, prayer for me. Just so a collective of things, and I'm still healing, and I'm big on that. So I want to be around that space. I don't think it's cool to be, like, as far as being unhealed, I don't think it's really tough. I just think hurt people. So if you is really out of control and acting crazy, you just an emotionally out of control person that's probably hurt, but you conveying it through anger and disguising it as, being tough. But I honestly feel like the ones that true power is knowing how to control, knowing that you can do something and not doing it, because it's very challenging. And even to this day, it's a lot of challenges that I'm still faced with. And I need to be around like-minded people to maintain my liberty, which is why I'm big on unity. I cannot do it by myself. So it takes a village.
Yeah, it definitely takes a village. And you kind of just led me to the question that I wanted to ask you next. You do a lot in the community that is centered and focused around bringing black men together. You want to unite everybody, but you have this intention, this focus on uniting black men. Can you tell me about the initiatives that you got in place to do this and why that is so crucial, why that is so important to your journey right now?
Yes, that's important for one, because breaking the recidivism rate, first of all, there's so many different organizations we trying to establish, but the main thing is the chosen generation. So we trying to get people to realize that, hey, listen, Yet, what's your it factor? You chosen for some type of purpose. You only you may know that, but it's my job to help you realize that. So, letting people know that they're chosen, and what was the question? So the initiatives, right? Yeah. The initiatives. So to of course, with you, it was an honor. Like I said, coming across you when I did. Some of the things that I've seen you just exemplify, and I do want to give you your flowers. And I appreciate the energy, and which is why I wanted to introduce other brothers to you. The work, you more action, less talk. So even when we did the protests, on the inhumane prison conditions, State Road, leading that was an honor. Like it really felt. I was like, yo, that was powerful. You know what I mean? I'm smiling now just thinking about just the power that was in that, man. So we do run me and Steph, we do run a men's group called Brotherhood Beyond the Walls, and it's a safe space. Now, if you think about walls, sometimes we hide behind them. Sometimes it's hard to break through them. Sometimes you got graffiti on them, you got to pressure wash them. And I think a lot of men, unfortunately, we either hide behind the walls, and we allow those walls to block us, to be the barrier to where we really need to be. So we come together, we break down brick by brick, and we build brick by brick. And we have real rap sessions. It's a safe space. It's in person. We do it in Maryland. He has other experiences as well, and I'll share that later. But yeah, so we hold that safe space. So it's attacking the mental health aspect. Like we talk about topics like fatherhood, like how was your father? And we've even talked to brothers that grew up with fathers that was making $300,000 a year, and they still said I had missing components. Me, I don't know my real father. I never met him. Still trying to become the best I can. I still had a question mark lying on the top of my head. My mom, who adopted me, I appreciate her. She did the best she could, and I'm thankful for her. So we try to address the issues that we know that can stem from whatever produces recidivism. So we kind of go a little further back. So it's a safe space. Sometimes we in there for 3 hours. They don't even want to leave. Like it's supposed to last an hour and a half. Like yesterday, we did like 3 hours yesterday, and they still was hanging out. We bring food, water, and welcome them into the home, and into Steph's home, and we give them it's automatically a curated atmosphere for them to relax. And I think a lot of men need to relax. Like you said, remain silent. That's like you that, and they want to. And when you remain silent, you either implode or explode. And if it implodes, you have just because you can have internal bleeding. Just because you don't see the bleeding doesn't mean that it's not affecting you. So that's I see when I see myself, and it's like no, I can't. And somebody say, "Oh, you can't save her." No, but I can tag a few before I go. I ain't got no excuse. I can tag a few because when I was doing that, when I had the influence on the negative impact, and I was making moves and I was strategizing on that, I could do the same thing. So the same thing applies. All it is, I'm flipping it for the positive.
Bro, I got so much respect for you and for what you do, and we need more people like you. And I know with what you're doing, you're creating that. Like you're creating. We got to be the examples, and you're an amazing example in the fact that you're actually giving back and mentoring folk. Yeah, I'm just super appreciative. But you talked about something a little bit that I kind of want to touch on and dive deeper into. Okay. Your experiences. You said you didn't grow up with your father in your life, and you also were adopted. Yeah. What role did these experiences play into leading you into a life that resulted in you being, convicted and doing 6 years, or your recidivism, just being caught in that revolving door that is the criminal legal system? And I'm asking you that because we don't talk about the root causes enough. Right. You get what I'm saying? We always want to talk about, it's so much gun violence happening. Right. It's so much this happening. Right. You selling drugs. We don't get at the root causes enough. So talk about, your root causes, and then kind of talk about just the root causes that we deal with as black men that are leading us to, just these destructive paths, man.
Yeah, I call it the prison pipeline, right? So a lot of root causes. One of them was not knowing, because at a young age, right? You're displaced. You're going from home to home. You got various forms of different things happening in those homes, abuse. So what's happening is you're being uprooted, And the last time I checked, in order for a tree to grow or flower to grow, it has to at least be continually rooted in a cultivated atmosphere, at least for it to grow properly and have the peace of mind and space to grow. So I didn't feel like I had the space to necessarily grow. I didn't feel like, I'm like, yo, I'm hopping back and forth. So what is this producing? Behavior patterns that I don't even know why they being produced. Is just a byproduct of the dysfunction. And you consume that enough, you're poisoned by your environment. So what's happening is you're going from home to home. You know what I mean? You just ready to, like, it's just to the point where you get so accustomed to it. But now behavior patterns, and then it starts all small. Then you go to special ed. You know what I mean? And you throw you in the behavior classes, alternative schools, and getting expelled. You acting out, but you still don't even know why, because you're so young. And then you go to another house, and then you get acquainted with them, and they take you to another one. So you're like, oh, all right, I'm over here now. So that's why I think I'm so accustomed to just moving around, because either I feel like I got to, or I'm just used to it. I'm accustomed. So long story short, after all of that, and then of course the conditions that you living in, you feel like, all right, I'm gonna make something. I'm gonna make something happen. You know what I mean? So as a result of that, that's when you get into other things, and you get exposed to other things. And it becomes a pattern, and then you don't. I didn't learn the first time, second, third, fourth. Like it was back to back, and then eventually, like I said, the last ride I learned, but I still had to grow. Even when I got out, I still had to grow into, like, I didn't initially start like doing music and poetry when I like first got out. It took me some years to had ups and downs. Like at least probably like I'd say about 2 to 3. Maybe 4 years. I had to just try to figure out life, and then being judged as a, having a felony and feeling like you're an animal, like you don't got no opportunity. I'm just trying to move forward, like so. That produces more anger. So now you're like, all right, so I can't qualify for this. All right, now it pushes you in at least some type of entrepreneurship. You're like, all right, I gotta figure it out on my own, because y'all not gonna give it to me. So just a lot of. To make it brief, it was just a lot of back and forth, being uprooted, still unanswered questions. I did meet my family after, a big component of my testimony. I met my family after about 26 years of not being around them, and met my brother. You remember my brothers, Amir. Yeah. And when I met them, I found out I grew up as the only child, but I found out I had 5 siblings. So it was like, whoa, it was like coming from the only child to like, yo, I got 5, like I got 3 sisters and 2 brothers. Like I was like, yo, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And then when I met my brother and how we resemble each other, and I looked at him, I was like, and I even had the video of that too, some of that, and meet my mom. But what happens is after you meet them, after let's say the 2-3 week period, the reality sets in, this barrier of, I don't know you. I didn't grow up with you. Even though it's exciting to meet you, it's a barrier of you ain't the day one. I didn't grow up with you. So now you go right back on the side of the fence that you was on. So now you're reopening the same wound. So yeah, that's a little bit of the storyline.
I really appreciate how transparent and vulnerable you're able to be, because I feel like as black men, like transparency and just being vulnerable and talking about like these things could be looked at as, quote unquote weakness in our culture. But the weakness is not being strong enough to actually have these conversations and put it all out there, and then still be a man at the end of the day, and stand on that and stand on your values. Talk to me a little bit about what you got going on now. You're an entrepreneur. You're a poet, a performer. Like, what is on the horizon for you? What do you got going on, and how can we support you?
Well, I do have merch. I have merch. Well, the website is www.taginallgenerations.com. I do have merch available. I'm working on some books, From a Number to a Name. And I got to do the editing for my book of quotes. It's called Mind Blowing the Pistols That Reload and Trigger the Mental. So it's something that you can ponder on, something that has a form of wisdom to it that you can think on. Those books are in the process of, I'm getting them edited and getting everything together and working that out. I got all the quotes. I got like 360 quotes. So I might split it into 2 books, like volume 1, volume 2. I got the covers made, so that's in the making. Also another book I'm working on called Life Lessons. So got about like 9 chapters of that, but I want to let it flow. And also another book, the poetry is written. I got to put that in the book. It's called Poetry Was All I Had. I did do a poem called Dear Poetry. I wrote a poem to poetry, and I was saying poetry was all I had because it was times that I couldn't even call my dad. It was like I put that in a hook, and poetry means everything to me because it helped me like express myself in a healthy mannerism. It brings people together. It brings life. It inspires. It inspires me. Even when I write my own verses, I get inspired. Sometimes I listen to it. It's a gift, and it comes from above. So, yeah. So a little bit how you can support me. I'm still working on Are You Sure You're Ready for This Black Life Part 1. That video, half of that is shot. My bro Prophet was in it. Shout out to Prophet. You know what I mean? It was in there. You know what I mean? We was in there having a ball. But we got part 2, we're going to have a different scene. As far as getting the budget for that, just getting everything, the rest of that paid off and getting to the next portion. So that's in the making. But right now, besides that, being more strategic, seeing what is the next move, making sure it makes sense. If we're going to make change, it got to make sense, right? Double entendre, right? You know what I mean?
Bars.
Yeah, mic drop, man. You dropping that mic. No, but yeah, so for sure, it got to make sense. So we being strategic. So I'm sitting back seeing what direction to go in. I don't want to just, because continuous movement does not mean continuous progression. So I want to make sure that I am moving in the right direction. Any effective leader knows that, you don't want to be on the hamster wheel. It's a good exercise, but you ain't gonna get too far.
I could listen. I appreciate you for coming out. I'm grateful for your gift, your art, but I'm also so grateful for the work that you're doing on yourself and on others, man. And please continue to tap in with us. Let us know how we can support, and continue just trailing this path. Like you're a pioneer in the true sense of where I can't repeat that enough. Like it's not enough people doing what you're doing, bro. So I just want to sit here and give you your flowers that you deserve, man. Because as black men, we don't exchange that enough. So thank you for coming out, man. And I'm looking forward to all of what's next to come.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it, man. And then, like I said, I look forward to building and working with you. And I appreciate what you do for the community. It's much needed. Don't take it for granted. I want to tell everybody, when you find brothers like this, it's rare. Many are called, but few are chosen. And like I said, man, really, I want you to keep your eyes on this brother. He's doing a lot of work in the community. I've walked beside him, worked beside him, and it was an honor. And I look forward to. I know we got realigned and reassigned for a reason, so let's continue to build.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, bro.
So, as a coalition, the Ascension Coalition, we have 11 agreements that we stand on. Today, we're going to be talking about how we denounce and refrain from promoting all forms of capitalism, especially within the arts and culture. We recognize that capitalism perpetuates systems of oppression and equality, and we commit to creating art that reflects our values of community empowerment and universal synergy. Where do you stand on this, Dave?
You know where I stand. Fuck capitalism. Fuck the system. Let's bring down anti-establishment all the way. But it's important that when we talk about capitalism, let's define what we're talking about. What is capitalism to you? Because I don't know how many people understand, what capitalism is or what the capitalism we're talking about is.
Capitalism is synonymous, for me, my understanding, right? Capitalism is synonymous with colonialism, which is synonymous with exploitation, right? Capitalism is using others' energy or using the energy of the other, right? Maybe it's people, maybe it's not people, right? Because it could also be animals, right? Using the other to create value for the self in a proportion that is disproportionate to how much, the amount of value that you might be receiving is disproportionate to the amount of energy, time, and creativity that you've put into the thing. But yet you still receive all the value for it. And, the products, the people, the animals that are, creating for you, for the self, are receiving very little of the profits. That's my understanding of capitalism so far. Do you have a different understanding?
I mean, not too much. Like for me, capitalism is really about, you know, the energy of capitalizing off of the other, capitalizing off of somebody or something else. Capitalism is, you know, disharmonious with how our universe is meant to operate. Right. You know, because we're not supposed to capitalize. We're supposed to collaborate. You know, we're supposed to collaborate as collectives and build together. You know, if I'm capitalizing, I'm extracting. You know, I'm taking value and, you know, really being selfish with that value, really just focusing on myself, my family, you know, it's extracting. When you're collaborating, you're exchanging value. You know, that's what it's about. And that doesn't mean that we can't sell things. That doesn't mean that everybody has to be a nonprofit and give their money away. That doesn't mean that, you know, we can't exchange. But when you're exchanging and your only purpose of exchanging is to make money,
right,
that is what we're against. That is what we're denouncing. When we're just following this dollar and we're, you know, only worried about what we can get, that is when the disconnect happens, and that is part of why our society is crumbling, you know, right now in the present sense. So yeah, I think we have a general understanding. We kind of see things on the same page with this. But I would like to ask you, what in your mind replaces that? What type of system, especially for artists, what type of system can, you know, replace this capitalist system? Because I see it as, you know, this is not a capitalist versus a communist argument, or capitalist versus even a socialist argument. Like, we're really looking at this in just like the spiritual and value sense, the moral basis of this. So, you know, I'm curious to know, like, how do you embody this agreement? How do you really enact this in your life?
Well, I definitely just first want to touch on, I'm appreciative of the fact that, you know, you took it down to a spiritual and moral level, because part of this issue right now is that when we're focusing on capitalism and the capital and the money, like, money is nothing. Money does not exist. Money is just an energy, right? And we need to really be focused on how are we moving energy. You know what I'm saying? It's neither created or destroyed. So where is it going? What are we moving? Like I said, what are we moving this energy to? So you asked, you know, how do I embody this agreement? I'm very intentional I do my best to be intentional with how I, you know, exchange value with others. First off, another thing with capitalism, you have to know your worth. You know, you have to know what value it is that you have before you begin exchanging, to ensure that what you're exchanging is equitable, right? So I first had to learn what I was worth, like what is my energy equal to, which is not really equal to nothing because it's my own unique energy, but what am I willing to give my energy to? And being intentional of exchanging with others who also know what their worth is, to ensure that it is equitable. It's also, you know, it's less really about the barter system and really just knowing and understanding energy, and knowing that if I contribute this time, this product, this thing that I have, whatever it is, and you contribute this to me, it honestly is never really about being equal. I really feel as though in this new community that we are building, right? And it's kind of like we're going backwards, because before there was money, there was debt. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm going to use the word debt like loosely, but that is how I foresee this new world coming in. Everyone understanding that we are indebted to each other, indebted to community, indebted to spirit, indebted to this life that we have, and that nothing is ever going to square that off. You know what I'm saying? We are always in a constant give and take with each other. And once we come to understanding about that and do, you know, the give and do the taking with a sense of honor, there'll just be a lot more flow in society. You know, where's your head at with this?
When I think about capitalism, and when I think about how the impact it has had on me personally and on my community and my people, you know, we could really trace capitalism back to the root cause of the terrors that are happening to our planet right now. Like what's going on with the environment, capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, the prison industrial complex, you can trace that back to capitalism. You know, the way our schools are just failing, you could trace that back to capitalism. And so as I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, wow, like this is this is the beast, this is the boss. You get what I'm saying? Like this is the boss that we have to fight and overcome. And yeah, I really want to talk solutions, right? So what are give me three ways that, you know, the average person can combat capitalism. What are things that we could do to combat that? Give me three things right now off the top of 3 ways we can combat capitalism.
Guys, this is a lot of pressure. Oh my God. Okay. 3 ways that we can combat capitalism. First off, I don't know if you ever heard of a susu, but that's something that like people in my culture, Jamaicans do. I think they do it in multiple different places, various African cultures and things and whatnot. But it's a way of building like social capital, and basically you guys all invest, together, and whoever might need the funds 1 week, they get the funds. You guys continue investing. Next week goes to someone else, and that's the way of ensuring that everyone has everything that they need, which is, I believe, against capitalism. Additionally, being intentional with being knowledgeable about the companies and corporations that you are giving money to. Just take 5 minutes and look up, like, you know, where you get your coffee, where you buy your clothes. Just look up like what their values are and like where do they source their clothes. Shein, everyone loves Shein. People love Shein.com or maybe it's called She.in. I'm not sure, but that is like the biggest source of pollution in this world, but it's cheap. So really, yeah, just knowing where your stuff comes from. And lastly, I'd say save your glass jars. Like, save your glass jars, use them as a cup, use them as storage. Like, you don't need to spend money on this thing to hold, like, it comes free with your other things, because recycling is a scam, right? They say it was reduce, reuse, recycle. Recycle is the last thing. So the first thing you want to do is reduce and then reuse that glass jar. So that's where I got off the dome for day one, not day two.
Okay. 3 ways that I would say we could combat capitalism. Learn the game. We can't fight this boss. We can't fight this war if we don't know that we're fighting in the first place. You get what I'm saying? And so many people, so many of the socialist party, they're just so disgusted with capitalism that they don't want to even, think about it or learn about it. Now we have to learn this beast. We have to learn this monster.
Know thine enemy.
Know thy enemy, So learn it. Study marketing. Study capitalism. Study business structures. And then use that against them. You know what I'm saying? Understand when you're being marketed to. Understand when you're making impulse buys and you're grabbing something, not because you need it, but because you've been conditioned to want this thing. So understanding the system that we're in is number one. And then number 2, exchange value. Start your own business. That is how if everybody starts a business, right? It breaks down this capitalist system where like we're all at the table. You get what I'm saying? We have to transform from consumer mindset to creators. Tap into your creator, because once we can, replace these big institutions, these big corporations with small mom and pop shops or, small little collections within the community that are offering the same services for a fraction of the price. Once we can compete on that level, we now have the control. And so everybody tap into whatever gift you have, whatever, weird little hobby that you developed during the pandemic that you know how to do now, and exchange that with others. And, use that to your benefit and to your community's benefit. And thirdly, what I would say is just thrift. Thrift. When you talked about reusing your glass jars, clothes just in general are the number one pollutants in this world. We throw away so many clothes because we always want to have the latest. We always want to have the latest drip. We always want to have the latest fashion on. Like, fight that urge to always want to step out in something new and, do clothing swaps with folks, thrift your clothes, be resourceful about whatever you can be resourceful for, not just, your clothes, but everything doesn't have to be new. I feel like us as black people too, like there's something ingrained in black Americans where we have to have the brand newest of the new. Like there's so many people with the latest iPhones that, you know, don't have, you know, transportation, or they don't have, like, I don't want to shame anybody for, you know, just being in poverty, but like we go in debt to get an iPhone or to get a chain or a watch or to get a bag, or I mean, but we don't invest. You know, we don't invest in ourselves. We don't invest in our communities. And so if we could change that and move from being a consumer to being a creator, and then move from being a creator to being an investor, like that's how we combat capitalism. And once we understand our power and once we organize our power, they can't do shit to us. So for today's Starcast, you know, we're going to talk a little bit about trines and this full moon that's going on. So a trine is a planetary aspect that occurs when two planets are in synchronicity with one another. You know, this is because they're sharing the same elements such as air, fire, water, or earth. Because of this, planets with the trine aspect are working towards the same agenda and want the same outcome. Right now, we see that the sun is trine Saturn, which is trine the south node, north node trine Mars. We got the moon trine Neptune, Uranus trine Pluto, Venus trine the moon. This is a great time for manifestation. You have all these planetary bodies working in harmony with each other. This is the time to actualize. This is the time to really, you know, take that step. Like, you got a new initiative, you've been cooking up something, you know, take phase 1 to phase 2. This is time to push the button and really go all in. And if we don't really take advantage of this energy right now, it can, you know, kind of stagnate us. You get what I'm saying? That because there's something that you're feeling, and if you don't act on that, you know, it could actually act against you. And so right now is the time to really take that leap of faith. You know, it's going to work out. We have so much working in harmony for us right now. You just got to trust yourself. You got to trust the universe and really manifest and actualize, bring about like what you're here to bring about. How has this been affecting you?
Yeah, I've really been feeling this aspect really, really heavily. The trines have influenced definitely all aspects of my being, as they should, being that all the planets are activated right now. You know, not all the planets get along, right? So some of these trines do activate a little bit of tension within my being. However, I've really understood just from my experience these last couple of days that I need to feel the tension and allow it to flow, because it's if I don't allow myself to flow with what's going on, it just gets all the more stuck, and I'm unable to manifest what it is that I want to manifest. But and just feeling the flow, going with it. I've been feeling stronger. I've been feeling more powerful. I've definitely been feeling more aligned in my purpose. And also just with flow and everything, like all the crazy thing, the best, beautiful thing about all these trines, right, is that they're happening at the same time this full moon. And the full moon is a perfect time to release. So at the same, like, we are literally clearing space, you know what I'm saying, for all these beautiful manifestations. So that's been the process. It's been a space clearing process and a manifestation. I've really been able to take stock of all that I have manifested and really been appreciative of it, because we know that when we show appreciation to the universe, that's how we manifest all the more. So that's really been where my head's been at. How has this affected you, Day One?
Yeah, man. I would say that I definitely feel the energy to realign with old initiatives, with purposes that I knew I've had, but it might not have been the right time. Now feels like the right time, you know. So all the work that was being put in, you know, all the loading that was happening, is now time to, you know, really fuel this mission and really step into like what we're here to step into. But it could also feel, I hate this word, overwhelming. I don't want to feel overwhelming. But it could be intimidating if you let it. You know, there's so much happening. You know, there's so like we have this joke: our manifestations have manifestations. You know, and it could just feel like opportunity after opportunity is coming your way, and you know, it could be easy to get into the mindset of, I can't do all of this. Like, how am I going to manage all of this? But we got to take can't out of our vocabulary. You know, we got to delete that word overwhelmed and really just, you know, allow, like, the universe is giving it to you. So the universe is going to help you out. That's like the mindset that I have. Like, all right, you want me to do all this? We're lining up 3 tours right now. Okay. So you got this. We got this. And it's just really just having that faith in the higher power and just, you know, really having that faith in yourself. Like, you know, this could be a time where, as all of these opportunities are coming, as, you know, you're manifesting and these things are coming about, you know, that imposter syndrome could set in. You know, that's something that a lot of people deal with, and you really just have to, you know, really be confident and sound in yourself and recenter yourself and know that you're exactly where you are because Spirit wants you there. Right. You know, you're doing exactly what you're intended to do because Spirit wants you to. And so it's really about making sure that you trust in yourself in this process. Everybody says trust your process, but you have to trust yourself first enough to trust the process. If you don't trust yourself, how can you trust the process? You know, you're doing something you love, embrace it. You know, wake up every day and know that even though it's hard, even though it's difficult, there's people that are stuck in that cycle. There's people that can't wake up right now. There's people that are behind bars, and there's people that are not where you're at. And so we have a responsibility to ourselves to really embrace this moment, embrace what you're doing, embrace that love, that passion that you have, and allow that to fuel you. You know, we could easily focus on all the reasons why we can't or why we shouldn't or why this is hard. We could easily run away from what we're supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, you're right where you are for a reason. And it's not for you. You know, this is not for you. And I think that's what fuels me. When I'm out here doing these late night sessions, getting up early in the morning, doing meetings, you know, these are all things that are pushing me to my passion, but I know that this is bigger than me. I'm one part in this great universal plan that God has for me. And I'm a soldier. I have to walk in this. I don't have no choice. I got these marching orders. You get what I'm saying? And so it's really about finding that faith in whatever way you find it. You know, I'm not a religious person. I'm more so spiritual. But if you find it in the church or you find it in your Quran, wherever you find it, like embrace that during this time and allow that to fuel you, because now is the time to manifest. Now is the time to really step in and to actualize all that planning, all that work that we put in to get here. Now is the time to blow the top off this shit. Let's get into this message from Spirit. Luna Young, let's get it. What does Spirit have to say to us tonight?
Oh gosh, Spirit's been talking to me this whole time. I don't know how you experience your message from Spirit, but I get chills, and it's been chilly in here. It was very deathly hot when we first walked in here.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
She shuffles the deck.
10 shuffles later. Nah, just one more. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Oh, yeah. Okay, so First off, it's really funny that we just had a whole reading about, a Starcast about manifestation, because it is very clear to us that we are getting in our own way. We are getting our own way, and we are really doing too much. The universe will give us everything that we need to handle, right? So stop trying to create things to do when the universe is going to give you everything you need to do. You don't need to put more on your plate. You don't need to do this. Like, just allow the flow of life to happen and be ready for when it happens. You know, it might feel like sometimes you have like a lax time and you're like, whoa, why does it feel like I have nothing to do right now? Like, and you start running and start panicking and trying to do something. Like, nah, it's called the universal balance. It's the give and take. The universe is giving you a breather to collect yourself, so be ready for what's on the other side of that. You don't got to fill your plate right now. Because really doing too much, doing more than what the universe really wants you to, is taking your light. You are putting your energy in places and pockets that are not serving you. It's not serving the mission either. So what is the purpose? If it's not serving you, it's not serving your people, it's not serving the mission, why are you doing it? I'm keeping called to the world the word balance. There's a delicate balance that exists. You know, you don't want to give more than you are dealt, because you are going to feel that internally. That is how we create the lack mindset. It's a dirty word around here, right? Because we are abundant. That's the message from Spirit right now. The message from Spirit is that we are abundant, that we have everything that we need, that we have all of the gifts, the capabilities, the thoughts, the actions, the feelings. We want for nothing. However, in this physical realm, there are desires that we have, and we need to act on those desires, because that is what, Spirit has given us to push us from one way to another. But we want for nothing. The desire is a vessel, is a way for Spirit to come and talk to us, to lead us where we need to go, but understand that we have everything that we need. So, Ashe, day one, not day two. How does this resonate with you?
Ashe.
Ashe. All right, that's, I guess, our message from Spirit today. I definitely needed that reminder. I literally had one of those days the other day. I think it wasn't yesterday. It was like 2 days ago. I'm like trying to do this task and this task and this task, and they're like, everyone's like, I got it. You don't got to do it. Don't worry about it. So I definitely appreciate this, Spirit. Thank you.
And I appreciate you, Luna, for being a vessel and really channeling this message for us, and also for being an amazing DJ and playing this out. If y'all didn't get it by now, that is a segue to our Lunar Lounge, where Luna's going to put on a little mix, and we're going to see y'all next week. Peace.
We're going to see y'all next week. Peace and power to the people.
Look, I'm feeling good today. I wish you were today. I'm pulling up in the hood today. I understood today. Tomorrow, and I promise I'm being grateful as I should today. I'm feeling nice today. I'm more than alright, okay. Honestly, I'm sorta kinda great. Got a smile on my face. Know what? I might just let this little light of mine shine your way. I'm feeling good today. I wish you were today. I'm pulling up in the hood today. I understood today. Tomorrow, and I promise I'm being grateful as I should today. I'm feeling nice today. I'm more than alright, okay. Honestly, I'm sorta kinda great. Got a smile on my face. Know what? I might just let this little light of mine shine your way.
They say everything works in divine time, so I put in the work, let it all align. Put myself first, cross that finish line. Had to meditate, had to clear my mind. Yes, I'm grateful for the birds, grateful for the trees. Thankful I'm alive, thankful I can breathe. God is all I see, yes, she lives in me. Sacred energy, cause that's my energy.
I'm feeling good today. I wish you were today. I'm pulling up in the hood today. I understood today. Tomorrow, and I promise I'm being grateful as I should today. I'm feeling nice today. I'm more than alright, okay. Honestly, I'm sorta kinda great. Got a smile on my face. Know what? I might just let this little light of mine shine your way. Come on.
Spread love, 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 that's love, spread love, show 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 love, spread love, that's what a real love do, 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 spread love, keep the peace, spread love. We the best, still is room for improvement. Our presence is felt like a black panther movement. Black movement, black movement, black movement, black movement, black movement.
Peace.